Good afternoon, everybody. I'm doing this early today for a number of reasons, but probably the single greatest reason is because I felt like it.
It's your show, so
No, of
fuck
course, this will
everybody.
be immediately archived, and everyone watches it after the show anyway, as a rule of thumb. But this is going to be a very interesting program, and it's going to be somewhat analytical uh, as opposed to emotional. And I think there's lots of reasons why what happened yesterday happened. I want to start out the program today by pointing out that a Pro Football Hall of Famer, Kenny Easley, who was from the Seattle Seahawks, died at the age of 66.
Damn,
All right.
I remember him. I remember him at university. Went to UCLA, I think.
That's right. He went to UCLA. That's
I
absolutely
think I
right.
saw him play live.
Really a fine football player. And he died of natural causes. I don't believe that for a minute. So all I do is I look up his wiki. And I want to point this out to you because you never heard about this because the NFL squelches this shit. And if this is just another story of a man dying before his time because of NFL negligence. Easley filed a lawsuit against the Seahawks, the team trainer and team doctors, all the way back in 19 is that they knew as early as 1986. Okay,
fuck me, that's 40 years ago.
Now get this. He filed the lawsuit against the Seahawks, the team trainer and the team doctor, saying that overdosing Advil, ibuprofen, for an ankle injury a few years before was the cause of kidney failure.
Oh no.
He knew as early as 1986 that there were issues with his kidney, but finally realized the severity of it when he did not pass the Cardinals physical. Now, you're not going to believe this. He said that he took 15 to 20 Advils daily.
Fuck me, that you can't do that. You can maybe take 2 or 3
for 3 months to reduce the swelling in his ankle before a doctor intervened and told him to stop.
Oh, he's lucky to be alive from then, really.
Yep. A former teammate said that Advil and other medications were easily obtainable in the Seahawks locker room in large dispensers without proper medical supervision.
Wow.
Easley's physician said they never told him to take the quantity of Advils that he took. His case made national headlines, and that is where the discussion over the counter medication like Advil came up and limiting how much you take. The lawsuit was settled out of court in 1990. They paid him off.
Got fuck all too. If it was 1990, you would have gotten like peanuts.
That's right. So natural causes. He was 66 years old, man. I don't want to hear any more of this shit from the NFL. Just no more of it. But I wanted to share that to start out the program because it's truly, in my mind, truly disturbing. And no need.
That's mental.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry. I'm still trying to process that.
I mean, who in the hell could allow that to happen?
I've been in pain too, but even I would know not to do that. But you've got warning labels now on fucking everything. You know?
Right. I mean,
I don't know.
But yeah, that's how you end up dying at 66. And then he ended up having a heart attack years later.
Well, I'm surprised he has a stomach left because ibuprofen and aspirin eat through your.
Well, you're never going to know what all was wrong with him because they won't allow that. All right. Now, here's the gist of today's program. It bothers me more and more when people who have no fucking idea of what they're writing about chooses to write about a subject. And I have cited Jimmy Watkins on Cleveland.com before as just being a fire starter. But this is not really a matter of being a fire starter. This is another example of a media person in Cleveland just whoring themselves and opening his anal aperture for Jimmy Haslam. And it's disturbing to me because this starts a narrative that is totally without merit. And I will read the beginning of this article, and I'll just tell you the gist of what he is selling, because he's an influencer for Jimmy Haslam and Kevin Stefanski. Browns fans greeted rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders like the franchise's savior on Sunday afternoon. Fans raised their wrists to match Sanders' signature celebration as he jogged onto the field, and the crowd popped after his first completion of 5 yards. But the more Sanders dropped back to pass, still dropping on Sunday, the more Baltimore's pressure revealed what Coach Kevin Stefanski had been hinting at for months. Sanders wasn't ready to play yet, no matter how ready fans felt to see him. Do you see now why Sanders has been sitting?
Wow.
All right. Now,
that's pure propaganda.
This is the same shit we get on social media about, government and all that, politics and all of it. It's just a one-sided, ridiculous explanation. I wanted to share some things that I find will prove not that he's going to be this or that, he's going to be good, great, or lousy. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't do that. What I can do is start with Shedeur Sanders, who the greatest argument prior to him getting into a game that he wasn't prepared to play in, because nobody prepared him to play in it, was, well, he's like his dad. He's arrogant. He shoots his mouth off too much. All right. If you didn't read the transcript of his presser after the game,
and I didn't. I've not read any of these, so.
And I think
you fill me in if you want.
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring Hammer Time into the studio as well. All right, I want to read this out. First and foremost, this is his opening statement. First and foremost, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity to get out there. That's all you could ask for. Honestly, a chance to get out there, to get your feet wet, to experience how it feels to even be out there with the team, with the first group, with everybody. So it truly was exciting. Then they asked, when did you know you were going into the game? He says, right at halftime. So right before you saw me, that's when I knew. What was going through your mind at that moment? His answer, it's time for me to step up. How do you think you played? I don't think I played good. I don't think I played good at all. I think it's a lot of things, we need to look at during the week and go and just get comfortable. Even throwing routes, with Jerry Jeudy and throwing routes with all those guys. So I think that was my first ball to him all year. He hadn't thrown a football to Jerry Jeudy since he joined the Cleveland Browns. I'll continue.
Damn.
But other than that, I just think overall, we just got to go next week and understand so that when we have a week to prepare stuff that I like to do. Now, this becomes very important. Shedeur, do you think that if you play next week, if Dylan doesn't clear protocol, do you feel like if the game plan is designed for you and you get those first team reps, those starting reps, that this is just going to be a whole different ball game for you when you get out there? No, his answer. The most I can ask for is opportunity. You see, like that's an uncontrollable thing that I'm not able to control. That's not nothing that I should speak on. Just being the quarterback of this team, this franchise, they gave me an opportunity. I didn't do up to my expectation enough to get us a win, So I just got to take that one to the chin. Again, you mentioned that you hadn't really thrown to Judy and these guys in the starting unit. Kevin, in his presser, alluded to that as well. How much of there was maybe like a rust factor? His comment, I think you've seen it was just rough overall. It was a rough day overall. But the thing that I was excited about is just being able to get out there. You know, it's the first time I got hit, like since my last game at Colorado. So just having that feeling back, you know, is good. And, you know, I fulfilled overall when it comes to being out there practicing, going out between the lines and seeing what it's like. And I know I'm made for this. You know, I don't think there's a doubt in my mind that that final drive was going to go down there and score. Things happen and we didn't. But I was just excited because I knew what I was going to be able to do out there. And for the team, for the linemen, and getting snapped from Ethan Posich, it was like amazing for me. You know, going out there in a live game, being able to do that with him. And the way the guys, the way the O-line, running back, receivers, like all riding around, that's all you could ask for as a quarterback. Question: did you think that the last catch to Gage Larvidan was going to be a touchdown? I think every throw, you know, is going to be complete until it's not. You know, I know Gage is a dog. I have the most reps with Gage than everybody out there. So we went out like hungry dogs going at it every day. So, yeah. It just seemed like a really good play by the defender there. It was a nice throw by you. Is that how you saw it? No, I don't think too much about it. You know, I don't think too much in that. I just take what comes with it. All right, cool. Next play. This continues on with him basically continuing to say what we already knew, which is he had no familiarity with the people he was playing with. Now, here's another interesting thing. How much did you feel like those extra reps would have helped you prepare for when you were out there, if at all? And his answer, yeah, it helped me understand the concepts live, you know, but it's different when there's different body types going out there, a different way how people get out of routes. Like what I've seen on the pick initially was I saw his hips turn. So I'm like, okay, we're going to be able to get out there. But at the same time, playing quarterback is extremely hard. So it's like knowing every detail about my receivers. I like knowing the small things, what they're good at and what they're not good at. It's like so many details that helps me play confident with those guys. And I know that we're at the bottom right now. This performance, everything, it will never be like this. But, you know, I'm dedicated to being able to get those opportunities with those guys, to have a relationship. I got a relationship with all the hungry dogs. We like clockwork out there, but you just got to see. You just got to see everything a little bit more. You know, they can come out and do all different types of stuff. So besides that, they asked, not having the familiarity with the first team guys, what was the most difficult part of it? You know,
Lord.
He goes, the Ravens coverage, the pressure they brought, the speed of it. His answer, no, I'm going to give them their props. They were a good football team. But I know this. I know the only way is up for sure. So,
well, if I can comment here, it is the same for like a musician. If you just hand them a piece of really difficult music to play, very few people will be able to sight read it straight away and play it perfectly. They have to take it home and fucking practice it and then perform it in public. You know, there's only the really, really super gifted people that can play stuff that you just hand to them and then, you know, go away and be perfect. And that's what he's saying.
Here's my answer to all of this, and this will simplify this for those, and I'll bring up a comment. I don't know, Wyatt Teller. So that's the first time he heard Shedeur Sanders' cadence. That's mind-boggling to me. Well, that's exactly the case. Nobody was familiar with anybody because they just weren't familiar with anybody.
Yeah, it's just like a pickup musician band. It all shows up, and then they're just handed out this music, and
And fans are
play it.
unhappy at the gig because
Because it sounds like shit. Yeah,
exactly. So what I can say is this: it all comes down to people either should be in charge or should not be in charge. I said it yesterday, but now I'm a lot less emotional. And I would have fired Kevin Stefanski today. And there's a specific reason why, and it has nothing to do with Dylan Gabriel versus Shedeur Sanders. It has nothing to do with that. But having done what I've done in my life and remembering what it was like to be young. I remember when I was, 24 years old. Is that how old Shedeur is? 23, 24?
I don't know, but yeah, he's
Probably
can't be any older than that.
Right around there. And I remember, I believed in myself. I'm not sure that anybody else would have, nor would anybody have had a reason to when I was 24. I had a lot up here, but I had no experience. And without experience, we go nowhere. The problem is not with Shedeur, and the problem's not with Dylan. If you own a company, if you have a strategy of any sort, whether you own a company, whether you're making plans for your vacation, you have to have a backup. Nothing, and especially you get to where I'm at now, age-wise, nothing is a certainty. And I've pointed out on previous shows that 17% of my high school graduating class passed away. 17%. There is nothing that you can do to prepare for the ultimate end. However, there's a lot of shit you can do to plan, not just one game plan, but to have backup plans, contingencies. And in a sport like football, it seems absolutely amazing to me that when Shedeur Sanders came into the football game, the running game all but completely disappeared. Because, and I can tell you why, but they're not talking about it. They put together the play call sheet, and it was Tommy Rees who picked the plays, but it was Stefanski who provided him with the big picture. And it's like, okay, Tommy, you got these to pick from. And every one of them was the same thing out of the same playbook, which is run first and throw 4 to 5 yards down the field. All right. That's all there was. And the next thing you know, Dylan Gabriel is, hit his head on the ground, and he's got a concussion
because of a play that they called, and he ran right into the fucking defender that knocked him out.
Well, it's also foreseeable that a small man who's 5'9" and 170 pounds could get bounced around and get hurt. Just look at Tua and how many concussions Tua's had over the course of his young career.
All these Hawaiian kids, man.
Yeah.
They played, the Mariota and Tua played against each other yesterday. I was watching some of that.
It's obvious that if any game needs to have some kind of a backup plan, if you have a backup quarterback, here's the necessities. First of all, they have to work with the first team because they're one accident away from stepping foot on the field when it counts. All right. And there's no excuse for losing any football game because you're not prepared. That cannot be an excuse. So your first and your second string quarterbacks need to have first team reps. And I understand from one perspective, it makes it tricky when you're dealing with two rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's a built-in rivalry there.
And not only that, but you had Flacco here, and so Dylan Gabriel was second, and Shedeur was just an afterthought. The second, as an organization, they made the plan to trade Flacco to the Bengals, knowing they were going to give Dylan Gabriel the starting position. They needed to nurture Shador in some way to get him ready in case the little guy got injured on the field, like has happened to every other little quarterback who's tried to play in the NFL. But the Browns have no contingency plans because they're not run well. The person who's running the football side of things, Kevin Stefanski, only sees in a tunnel visioned kind of way. He handed a playbook to Tommy Rees. These are the facts, folks. And you can say you like this player, you don't like that player. Every one of those plays in that playbook that Tommy Rees had to call from presumed that Dylan Gabriel would be the quarterback for the whole game. And so there was no need for any throwing the ball downfield. All there was a few, maybe a play here, a play there, and everything else was just, we got to run, then we got to throw the shorts, pass, whatever. All of a sudden, you're in a competitive game and Shador's in the game, and you're calling Dylan Gabriel's playbook with Shador. Now, anybody with any sense in their head would have prepared a game plan that would take that contingency into account. Instead, the Cleveland Browns became so predictable the other way, which they just said, well, we give up. We can't run the football. So we're just going to send Shador back there. And I have video that I want to share, because I think this stuff is important. And, when we see things a second time, we might see this through a different prism. And I'm going to share the screen if I can pull this up. And this is Shador's interception. Okay. And if I can, there we go. And this is
so 2 minutes and 11 seconds left in the game. So we're driving.
Oh, wait, I think maybe I pulled up the wrong thing here, folks.
That's what the play is. See what happens. It just might be frozen on that frame.
No, I don't think so. I think that I don't know. This should not have happened.
You got 10 minutes there, so 10 minutes 52 on that thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm not going to run 10 minutes of video. Yeah, I can start this, and we can see what it is.
Shador Sanders just made his NFL debut. I did post a video covering his very first drive, so you're going to see after this clip, we're going to go into that video, and then I'm going to break down a little bit more towards the end.
I think this is right.
But right here, we're going to get a deep side dig from Harold Fannin. You are going to see kind of David Njoku break wide open over the middle.
This is the best throw that he made, and I want you to take a look at the offensive line and the defensive line of the Ravens. Ready?
Okay.
Offensive line actually is good on this play compared to other plays. We'll see that later. Now they're in a 5-man scat, slide right, man left. Running backs going to get out of the backfield. We're going to get, I believe, 2 chip and releases off David Njoku and the bottom side receiver. I believe that's Malachi Corley. And obviously, Shador Sanders does a good job sitting in the pocket, right? Third step hits the back foot. The back foot hits the ground. We're kind of just sitting here. I would like to see him maybe hitch up in the pocket a little bit. Ultimately, does get that football off just in the nick of time and throws a laser over the second level, right? Layers it over the second level of the defense, finds Harold Fannin for a 25-yard pickup, starts the drive perfectly, right? Goes to the 2-minute warning, had a couple of balls that weren't great. We'll probably show those a little bit later, or there was one of them that was a little bit of an overthrow, and yeah.
So that was the best throw that he threw, and it didn't take a genius to analyze that they had no real pass rush. Contrary to what this guy just said, the guy went by him on the outside. He wasn't going to get hit on this play. And I agree. He could have stepped up maybe 1/2 a step into the pocket. Other than that, he delivered a perfect ball because he had time to throw.
And he could see the receiver, too. You could see over the line.
Yep. And, boy, I can't believe that this did this to me. damn.
They fuck you at the drive-through, man.
They do. And I had this video lined up, and now I don't. Okay, let's do this one because I think this one tells a different story. And I'm going to remove that one. And now we're going to share it. Say what?
Did Hammer go away?
I don't know. I can't. When I'm doing all this manually, it's almost impossible.
Well.
All right, so let me share this screen, and this is we're going to share this and add this to the stage. Here's Shedeur getting sacked. All right,
sacked again, huh?
Yeah, but this is really interesting to me.
Okay.
Because now we're going to see additional secondary men blitzing and how the Browns blockers tried to handle this. This is very telling. Here we go.
Whoa. Get
All right.
out of it.
And I'm going to stop this. And you can see my little cursor.
Can.
And over here and over here, here's a guy who's coming through here blitzing, and that is a cornerback coming in and is going to go up a seam. Here's a receiver going out into a pattern. All right. And here's the bulk of your pass rush. And there's Naquan Smith up here and now all of a sudden you're seeing these two guys are on the loose, and these two guys, this guy's not even out of his set yet, which is really quite incredible, seeing as how the quarterback's back here with the ball already up to his chest. Now,
he goes the wrong way.
Watch this. So now we have these two, but this is interesting because Shedeur is going to make a very typical rookie mistake and hold on to the ball far too long and not throw it away. But here's something you didn't see on this play. And again, you can see now 38 has a line in, and now it looks like 45 is going to be blocked. And here is Judkins missing a block. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I want to take it back again and run it. And there, was he trying to chip block the guy and go out for a screen, which would have been wide open in the flat? Is that where the play was supposed to go? It doesn't matter now.
But he's going to get killed.
Because he's already from the right side, an explosion because the guy's missed his block here.
Yeah,
all right.
Probably Levingston.
And he's looking, where's Judkins?
Where is he?
Yep.
Where's Waldo?
And he's still on the ground.
Yeah,
so what do? How do you improvise out of this? Yeah. You turn around and you try to run
the wrong way and get killed by the blind side on you.
Either way you go at this point, the guy's on top of you. And if you go this way, this guy's on top of you. And at that point, he gets away from the one guy. But now Posich is here, or Whippler. I can't tell if that's a 55 or a 56. And has a straight, and now there's nobody to throw to. By now, Judkins is on his feet.
I'm over here.
But it doesn't look good because the flow of the play is like in it's frantic.
In the wrong area now.
And I think that the play was supposedly that he would chip block and go out, and that would have been a safe pass and a successful play.
Yeah, it probably would have gotten at least 5-8 yards, maybe.
And I think maybe more than that because they were selling two guys in from the left. All right, they would have been sucked in. And with Judkins, he could make a few people miss conceivably. That could have been a 20-yard gain. But at any rate, so then the guy's on top of him. He's devoured by Jaws, and that's the end of the play.
Look at Judkins nearly doing the surrender cobra. Like, oh my God, he's got his hands up, nearly ready to go on the back of his head.
It's
like,
too late to turn back now. Yeah, it's over. So my belief is that play was set up properly, but through circumstances that were beyond Shadur's. I mean, he was looking right at him, but the guy fell to the ground. And that kind of shit happens to bad football teams. If you're going to chip block, you don't go in with your momentum and shoulder first. That's a lesson learned for the rookie Judkins. That's not the way that you do that. And it's probably the reason we're seeing Jerome Ford in the passing situations, because Judkins, because where he came from at Ohio State, he probably wasn't a primary blocker for the quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think he was asked to do that shit on a regular basis.
Nope. And, and now I want to show another play from the game. And these are things that when you see the quarterback getting sacked or whatever, you're going to say that's on the quarterback because he didn't throw the ball away. And that's true in the last instance. He could have, once he saw his receiver go down, he could have just thrown the ball close to a guy and spiked it at his feet. Could have done that.
We probably would have gotten a penalty called on us for some inane reason anyway. So,
yeah. So, and now we'll add this one. And
but this is all kind of a moot point if Stefanski puts Gabriel back in against the Raiders or the following week.
Yeah, and it's not a moot point, and I'll explain it why not in a minute. All right, and now we're going to share this as well and fire it up on stage. And this is the almost play. All right, what I call the almost play.
We almost always win.
3rd and 5. Pressure's coming.
Sanders.
End zone. Incomplete.
Now.
Nearly caught by Larvidan. And it was Awuzie who's done a great job filling in for Marlon Humphrey today with the cover.
Now, they're going to show this from a different angle, and I've seen this called pass interference against us countless times.
Oh, God. Buster Screen must have like about 30 penalties exactly like this.
Here we go.
You know he's done a good job because we
right now, both hands are on the receiver.
Hand fight between both of them. But what you love about this play from Awuzie, when it comes to DB play, you always talk about the finish. And look how he rakes that ball out at the last second.
All right. Now, Larvidan gave it as good a chance as he could. The defensive back is physically stronger than Larvidan. That's the bottom line. Larvidan, you can see that he's much smaller. And this is, again, if he throws that ball to Cedric Tillman in that part of the field, there's a better chance from a strength and height perspective on a one-on-one that he's going to get up to that ball. But having to have that play written up and drawn up for Larvidan, who's a midget, it makes
rookie too. Inexperienced.
It makes no sense whatsoever. And this is why, and I'm going to now get rid of this thing again and be done with that. Be done with that, biatch.
That was a winnable game, is the moral of this story.
That would have tied the game, or if we went for 2 points and got that, it could have put us ahead theoretically. All I can say is the sin of this failed play is the sin of the front office to keep getting undersized wide receivers. When you want to score a touchdown and you're outside of the red zone, but you're going to try to hit a big play, and they knew that because Tommy Rees called the fucking play. I mean, you don't put the small little guy over there.
Yeah.
You got to let your biggest guy, you go to Njoku or you go to Cedric Tillman. And I can't for the life of me understand how this shit goes down week after week and year after year. It's just incredible to me. It's
well, either it's incompetence or trying to lose. Take your pick. They're both neither acceptable answers. You know, it's not.
So here's the next thing I decided to do. I decided to say the history of top drafted quarterbacks, first round picks over the course of the last many years. How did they do in their first times out?
Not very good historically.
All right, here's numero 24, Alex Smith. You remember him.
Oh, God, Bengals.
I can't tell you what their first game was. Here is Alex Smith's rookie season. 50.9% completion rate, 875 yards, 1 touchdown, 11 interceptions, 5 yards per pass attempt, and a 40.8 passer rating. All right. If you don't remember, Alex Smith had a difficult NFL career when he was young. His career in San Francisco eventually turned around between the development of Frank Gore, the running back, and future Hall of Famer, who was the 3rd-round pick in Smith's draft class, and the arrival of Jim Harbaugh, the coach, in 2011. Under Andy Reid with the Chiefs, he peaked because he had players around him. He had teammates. He had real people to be able to work with. But that first year, not the case. How about Jared Goff? Now, Jared Goff is not going to be looked upon as being the greatest quarterback who's ever lived, but he's in the talk for Super Bowl because of where he's playing now and how he's playing. But it all started with the Los Angeles Rams. 54% completion percentage in his rookie year, 1,089 yards, 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 5.3 yards per pass attempt, and a 63 passer rating.
Yep.
But he's ended up with a 3-time Pro Bowl selection. And this is why I tend not to get overly excited about the players. But in each of these cases, I don't think anybody said Alex Smith has no arm, he has no height. Jared Goff was a little lightweight, and they were worried about him as far as injuries would concern. How about Eli Manning? 2004 rookie season stats, 48.2% completion percentage, 1,043 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 9 picks, that same 5.3 yards per pass attempt, and a 55 passer rating in 9 games played. Sound familiar? And we know he was a 4-time Pro Bowl selection, 2-time Super Bowl champion.
And we see him every minute on the fucking broadcast advertising something or other.
Mike's subs or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but Eli Manning rode the bench to begin his rookie season. Despite the Giants, these are the things that just keep coming back at you. They traded 3 picks to get him. All it takes is a lousy organization and then surrounding them with lousy players. How about Terry Bradshaw? 1970, 38%, 38% completion percentage, 1,410 yards in total passing, 6 touchdowns, 24 interceptions, 6.5 yards per pass attempt, and a 30.4 passer rating. How about Troy Aikman in 1989? He went to the Cowboys. The Cowboys didn't have all that great stuff. 52.9% completion, 1,749 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, and a 55 passer rating. I can go on reading these things. How about Matthew Stafford? 53% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns and 20 interceptions, and a 61 passing rating. How about Michael Vick before he killed dogs or while he was killing dogs? 44.2% completion percentage, 785 yards in total passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 62.7 passer rating. And there were times that when they would say, "Oh, he's the future. He's the new, the guy
new
who
prototype." Yeah.
Yep, that's the word I was looking for. Exactly. And Vinny Testaverde, I don't know if we want to remember his 43% completion percentage, 5 TDs and 6 interceptions. The colorblind Vinny Testaverde,
Yeah.
1987. How
Yeah,
about Horsemouth?
Johnny
Elway.
Johnny Elway struggled.
I got a fly in my mouth. 47.5 completion percentage, 1,663 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 14 picks, and a 54.9 passer rating. Are you starting to get the gist of this, folks? Jimmy Watkins, you stupid ass. You're going to make a judgment because the organization told you, well, Kevin told you he wasn't ready to play. Who in the fuck is ready to play when they've not practiced with a single person on the field and didn't know until halftime that he was being shoved onto the field without any plays being written for or chosen for him as the quarterback? How's he supposed to do that?
And he's like 20-some years old. He's not 40 years old. He's not like Joe Flacco that you can plug into a system and he could sort of, know how it's supposed to work. I mean.
And then there's David Carr in 2002.
My mother, the Carr.
Yeah. He had 52.5% completion percentage, 9 passing touchdowns, 15 picks. He was sacked 76 times in his rookie season because of the horrific offensive line that he had. Sound familiar?
Yeah. Oh, and then there's like Joe Theismann was that crap early on, and loads of people.
I mean, it just goes on and on. How about Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
12 passing touchdowns, 17 picks, and a 71 passer rating.
That's better than most.
Yeah. How about Tim Couch?
Tim Couch.
He had 2,447 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, and 13 picks. Yet everyone in Cleveland hates his guts. But he played for a 1999 team that was nothing but castaways from other NFL franchises.
Yeah.
Jim Plunkett. I mean, it goes on and on. I can't begin to say how many names that really ended up with good careers.
Well, Brian Sipes, a classic example, too. He was pretty awful first couple seasons.
Even Peyton Manning threw 26 touchdown passes, but 28 interceptions.
Yeah.
In his rookie season.
Because they don't know the game. They don't know the league. They don't know Dick.
And, it to me, there's one thing that's consistent in Cleveland Browns. The consistency of the bad decision-making of the organization and Kevin Stefanski. This is the consistency in all this. You don't wait for the situation to arise and you're caught with your pants down. You don't do that. You have to always, we've got to be better. We've got to be better. Well, you could start with yourself, dumbass, and you could actually have a plan just in case something doesn't go according to your single-minded perceptions. What I'm telling you is, I don't know about Shedeur. I think he's got a better arm than Dylan Gabriel. He's got better size. And the time that he scrambled, he looked to get upfield instead of running out of bounds.
Yeah, he's got better vision of the field too, I think.
But how do you get vision when you have no blocking up front and when people are missing blocks up on the front line and you don't have an offensive line? It's very hard to analyze how much of it is, and they ridicule Shedeur for holding on to the ball too long when he was at both
Yeah,
colleges that he played for. And yeah, that was a problem. He'd make big plays, but he'd take big losses. But this is so much faster. I mean, and when you have Leviston in the game and people who are just incompetent and old, do you know that Joe Batonio's rating was a 48 in this game? He shouldn't be playing anymore.
That's
He's
generous.
too old. And he's been a great offensive lineman for us. And
Yeah.
it's really,
He should be in the Ring of Honor at some point, like next week, really. You know?
And I don't want to sit here and curse Kevin Stefanski. I can't.
But he's had enough years, man. He's not like he's. We've been watching this for 6 years now.
Yep.
You know, that's a long time. He was here before COVID. You know, that is a long fucking time that he's been around.
So my perception of this is predicated on what I've seen from Stefanski, that he only had the Dylan Gabriel play sheets. That's all Tommy Rees had to choose from. When he was out of the game, Dylan was out of the game. They just went into panic mode and threw passes, and all they had to do was run full bore pass rushing against a bunch of old men or first-time players like KT Leviston, and backup Luke Whippler and people who just don't know how to play the football game. And that was not a hard thing to figure out. And to add insult to injury, allowing a clean touchdown by a tight end,
Mark Andrews,
on that play to go untouched into the end zone is just a clear example of being outthought. If you weren't sure about what they were doing, you could have used a timeout, but that's just not, in the end, I guess, what it's all about. Kevin's convinced that he's right, and the only way you're going to convince him he's wrong is to fire him, is to let him go, let him be right somewhere else, because he hasn't been right. This is what he did to Baker Mayfield. And,
he fucked him at the drive-thru.
The most watched archive of Moohead Radio goes back, and you can find it because there's well over 1,000 archives that are up on YouTube's Moohead Radio channel. And the rise and fall of Baker Mayfield in Cleveland is well chronicled. And now we have the years to be able to judge Baker Mayfield for his strengths and his weaknesses. And the great strength that comes out of it is his ability to make secondary and tertiary reads in situations and to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, and his determination not to give up on a play. And sometimes that's his downfall, because if he throws a pick, then he wants to go out there and be the guy who tackles the guy who picked off the ball. But, other than that, you don't have a criticism of his determination.
No, he was young, he was immature, and there were some things.
Well, he still does that. I mean, he threw a pick yesterday, and he tried to go tackle the fucker. So
I don't mean just that. He had maybe more swagger than he should have as a young guy, but he proved that he could win in the NFL. But again, Kevin Stefanski decided that him being the drop back quarterback, that they were going to make him more efficient, and they turned him around, and it took him years to be deprogrammed by this nonsense. And every quarterback who played here has been programmed to play this same way, and it isn't one size fits all. And this is the limitation of the head coach. And Shedeur Sanders is not Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel cannot throw a ball more than 15 yards downfield. And at that, I don't think he can throw consistently accurately 10 yards.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
His windups, it does remind me of a short guy mimicking Tim Tebow. It really doesn't look right, But
again, and the fact that right after the game, Stefanski said, if Dylan Gabriel clears, he's going to play again. And I would let him go because, the idea is we're trying to become the
win.
best team that we can be. No, we're not going to win this year.
Yeah, I know, but we should at least make the effort.
Well, you can at least find out what cards are in your hand. That would be like playing poker and not even looking at what the dealer gives
just
you.
Folding automatically. Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. And I guess it bothers me because these two men are very different in their capabilities and skills, and you would have to call everything within a 12-yard frame, which is exactly what's happened. And all of a sudden, when Shedeur was playing, he was throwing the ball down the field. And the wide receivers, I don't think they know what to do. Our wide receivers don't help the quarterback because the entire playbook is predicated on bam, 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 throw. Bam, 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 throw. And they don't know what to do at the end of their pass route, of their tree, so to speak.
I don't know what to. You know what I would love to see? I would love to see an email dump. Email dumps seem to be the rage in the news lately, but an email dump between Haslam, Berry, and Stefanski of what really is going on with this team and what they say behind closed doors amongst themselves, and what is actually going on, whether they're legit trying to win or whether they're trying to do something else or whether they're tanking for when the dome gets built or what, because I think, it's obvious that something is not right. And if I see it, you see it, everybody in the chat room sees it. Why don't they do the remedial things that need doing that are fucking obvious?
Well, it's because the head coach is locked into one way of thinking. Ken, I know that you, and that may well be the case. What are you watching this on? First of all, where are you seeing the portrait mode? And why does it suck? Let's be a little bit descriptive. Saying something sucks doesn't tell me. I can make changes to things to make them better.
Yeah,
This is a whole new feature that they threw at me with no warning on StreamYard. So
let me see whether I can go on my Android and
because some feeds are portrait only, and YouTube is landscape and portrait, and I'm trying to remember off the top. I believe that maybe X is portrait mode. So if it's too narrow, if there's something that's out of ratio or proportion, let me know what it is so that I can at least, find out
on
more,
my Android,
make it better.
It's landscape. If you just flip your phone over to the landscape, it's fine. So you can have your phone upright in portrait mode and it stays in portrait, and you flip it over and it's in landscape. So I don't know what it's doing, for Keith, but it's fine on my phone.
Yeah, it's a good question. What I should do, because I've got nothing better to do and I'm just a big and furry bovine. I should just check this out and see what it's doing where, because obviously Ken is not going to respond. He would rather just be negative rather than being constructive. I'm in a very constructive.
There's a lot to say for being just plain negative, though. Be grumpy if you want to be grumpy. It's my view.
Not going to get laid, Ken, but that's your game. Yeah. Okay. Here he is. Too narrow. Can't catch up on double speed. Android turning, not helping my Samsung A15. Okay.
My A23 turning and it's fine. So it could be a phone setting, mate.
Yeah. It's I'm going to look at how I can adjust in the future the portrait mode. I like the idea of a portrait mode because people do watch on their phones, and I'm an old guy and I'm like so laptop/desktop oriented, because as you get older and your vision isn't as good, You're not spending as much time doing internet stuff on a phone. I'm doing it in front of me, and I have a 32-inch monitor in front of me, and about an 11-inch dick. And so you have these things in front of you, and it's like, this is what works for me.
I fucking love desktops and monitors, man. I do.
We're old school.
Worked in an industry where people had 6 or 7 monitors all going at the same time. So it's probably, I don't know, Ken, you just probably need to just check your settings, man.
Yeah. Kenny's saying maybe I need to upgrade.
Yeah,
with all the changes in operating systems too. I just got the new Pixel 10, the Google phone, the XL Pro, and it's amazing the difference of things, and I had them transfer everything from my Pixel 6 because that was my last phone. 4 versions later.
You don't have an Android phone you can test this on.
Oh, I mean, it's a real clusterfuck. All my notification sounds were gone. It turned on do not disturb. So, I mean, you got to learn about when you upgrade. Make sure, Ken, when you upgrade, that you learn about what the new phone's going to do, because it's tricky. And yes, we have been saying this about Stefanski for 4 years.
For more than 4 years.
Baker Mayfield is living proof that there is life after Kevin Stefanski, but it took a long time.
It took a lot of deprogramming for him to get out of it.
And Baker gives credit to his time in Los Angeles. That turned his head around, because I think it was friendlier to the way he played the game. And I think that the idea is, if I have 3 salespeople at my radio station, they're 3 distinct personalities. One might be a better hard salesperson. Another person might just have a great personality and a smooth sense of humor, and another person may be very analytical and want to use ratings and do it that way. There's many ways to succeed. There's more than one way home. And the thing with a guy like Baker, he's kind of a free-spirited guy on a football field. And if you take away his excitement, and this is what Stefanski has done.
You kill the bastard when you do that.
That's what he's done to the Browns. In general, they don't want to win. They don't play hard. They don't play consistently, and there's no joy in playing there. And Myles Garrett is the most recent example, and Baker Mayfield was a previous example. People playing in this system, it's I don't know. There's just no real joy at all.
Yeah, it's sad.
And Steven Tyler, right?
Aerosmith,
His 5G connection is crapping out to Ken.
We killed him. We killed Kenny.
You know what I think happened? I think I have an answer to your problem, Ken. Somehow you got your hands on David Talevsky's phone.
Good old David. He's going to Australia right at the right time.
He's going to the land down under.
And I'll explain this very briefly. One of the great sports rivalries in the entire world is Australia versus England in cricket. And they're having their big series starting in next week, going all the way to New Year's Eve. They play 5 matches that last for 5 days. And he's going to be David Talevsky. If he's not aware of this, he's going to get inundated on his sports pages with cricket news for the next 6 weeks. And he will not hear about anything else. So
yeah,
there you go.
That time of the year.
It's like Ohio State, Michigan of the cricket world. It's just huge.
And then there are quarterbacks like Jacoby Brissett, who completed 47 passes, setting the NFL record for most pass completions in a single game. But they lost 41-22.
Exactly. Of course they lost.
What heroics are there in losing causes over and over again? And that's the other thing about playing quarterback with the Cleveland Browns. If the end result is just you have a personal record, what in the hell does that mean? And, and Brissett has proven that he can throw for a lot of yardage and he can throw the ball to the wrong team, but he obviously never lands with a team that has any kind of a running game, because if you're throwing and completing 47 passes, it's a crazy thing. And he had 452 passing yards and only scored 22 points.
Damn, that's like end zone failure in a big bad way. Wow.
Yeah, it's just I
don't know. We play the Raiders. 4:00 game on Sunday. 9:00 my time. So it should be an easier team. God knows what will happen, and God knows we will lose if we play Dylan Gabriel.
Well, we will. He'll rush him back. He's just. I want a week of.
That's my doorbell going, but somebody else can get that.
I really want Shedeur to get a week's worth of 100% reps and a game plan that, and I'm not saying go bomb city. That's not what I'm talking about. This is not Jim Plunkett ball. It's not like that. It's not like you're just going to heave the ball down the field, but you've got to run plays for him where his safety valve is obvious and not laying on the ground like Quinshawn was on the one play. You have to have a safety valve for him so that it inculcates his brain that there's a timer that goes off. I got to let this go. I got to let this go. And don't laugh, Tony. I would not be surprised if Zappe gets the start instead of Shedeur. That would be typical Stefanski stuff.
Oh, totally. That's a serious comment in my view.
And mine too.
That's a serious comment.
That's the kind of thing that he does. And part of the reason why we don't need him in Cleveland. Don't need him anymore.
We've seen enough of Stefanski to know what he's like.
All right. I'm going to get done with this program.
Cavs tonight play the Bucks. Bucks got hammered the other night, so
God
knows what Cavs team is going to show up.
Giannis will be playing. He was hurt, and he should be back tonight. And but for us, Tyson is still concussed.
Oh man!
And so we're not going to get help from that. We still have the same people on the injuries. Darius Garland is still out. So, what we saw last game is what we're going to see this game, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. 7:00 on Peacock Network. That might be, and for those people who can't get it, you should be doing what other people.
I gotta go. I gotta fly. All right.
Okay.
Let's do it. Bye.
Bye. So if you want to get the game on Peacock, and you don't want to pay the money, you know what you got to do. Hello, Mr. Smith. Greetings from Denver, the Mile High City. Hello there. Welcome aboard. Jake Paul has decided his Judgment Day fight. He's got to switch opponents, so he's got to find himself the next guest in his career who has nothing left, and that would be, and it's shame Bronx off the air, he would have been able to talk about this opponent. Anthony Joshua is a guy who he's been fighting for 12 years, and he's always been enigmatic, and he's kind of slow and lumbering, and he's the prototypical British heavyweight. And I say that in the sense of Frank Bruno, a guy who can hit hard, but is slow as molasses. And in his last appearance, he got hammered so badly by Benoit. Oh my God. It was ugly. He got knocked down like 4 or 5 times in his last fight. And Dubois, that's the guy's name. Benoit is what your girlfriend puts up herself. The Dubois punched him out, man. 5 rounds done, and he was knocked down 4 times. Joshua was in 5 rounds. And I'm sure that's what Jake Paul's people are looking at, is when the worm turns for a heavyweight fighter, and then they'll jump right in on it. And I keep saying that I hope that Jake Paul gets knocked out cold and never fights again. Yeah, exactly, Tony. Yeah. Hey, I'm getting old. What can I tell you? So there's that. If you're interested in that, there's probably something wrong with you. Anthony Joshua's record I pulled up here, and Daniel Dubois, my God, he was knocked down against Dubois in the first, third, fourth, and fifth rounds and counted out. And before that, he fought Nagano, who was the UFC fighter who was not a boxer. So for all, and then he fought Otto Wallin, who's an undersized heavyweight and lumbered to a decision. Then he fought ancient, before that, Robert Helenius. And Helenius is a guy who's been around since Hector was a pup. And he was just winning these by decision. I take it back. Helenius was knocked out cold, which would be like the fourth time in his career that he was knocked out cold. He lost to Usyk twice, and that really spelled the end of his career. So anybody interested in watching that, there's got to be something wrong with you. The Cavs and the Bucks, Darius Garland out, Strus out, Luke Travers out for a two-way, and Jalen Tyson still concussed. Giannis with a left knee patellar tendinopathy is probable. Out, Kevin Porter Jr. because of meniscus surgery, Taurean Prince because of neck surgery, and the wrong Antetokounmpo, Alex, his brother, is on a two-way. So that's what you're going to be watching tonight for the Cavaliers. So I hope everybody has a good evening. I've done and said what I wanted to say. The bottom line, you can literally take this to the bank, that there is no successful business person who doesn't have a plan B. You can just take it to the bank. Things change. In my business that I was in, music changed. Have to stay on top of what people want to hear and what people wanted to hear, what parents did not want their children to hear. It was one thing when rap music was, fun and kind of like Tone Loc and all that fun stuff, parents had no problem with it. But when we got into, cop killer shit, it really became a thing that parents were turned off by. You have to make changes to your format to keep up with times. And it's no different with your playbook and who's running the team. And without a plan B, you're going to get caught, because, again, what's going to happen if Shedeur has to play again and Bailey Zappi then is your backup quarterback? I mean, you're going to be caught in this thing over and over again. You've got to give Shedeur all of the reps and let the little guy, Dylan, get his head cleared. If you want to go back to him, which you probably will, because that's the way you are, Kevin, you've got to let Shedeur have a full week of playing with the ones and getting acclimated to who they are. And 1 week doesn't even mean a goddamn thing, as we found out by looking at the first years of many really fine quarterbacks who just trying to break into the league, and the speed, the strength, it's very hard to do. So that's the wisdom I have for you today. I hope everybody has a good evening, and I will see you at the end of the week on Friday, and we'll see where this road takes us. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, hasta la vista, Pasture Hits. Good night.